We have a strange cultural habit. When someone lands a new job and walks into a corporate lobby, we throw a party. But if that same person announces they're starting a small business, they usually face skepticism. The problem with depending entirely on a paycheck is it turns you into an economic mule. You are doing the heavy lifting and putting in the hours, while the people who actually own the company collect the real wealth. This dynamic gets worse when we look at how we spend. If you take that hard-earned paycheck and buy products from a massive global retailer, that money immediately leaves your community. Once that dollar is gone, it rarely comes back. It sits in a corporate bank account and pays out dividends to outside shareholders, people who are using your spending habits to secure financial safety for their own children, generations down the line. We willingly hand our resources over to these massive entities, yet we often harbor deep distrust when it comes to doing business with our own cousins, siblings, or spouses. A high salary is a great way to survive, but it is not wealth. To actually build lasting power, you have to stop thinking of your family as just a collection of individuals with jobs and start treating them like an interconnected economic system. The quickest way to destroy a family's financial system is the leech dynamic. This happens when someone treats their relatives as an ATM, showing up only for a favor, draining the family's resources without offering anything in return. Relying on endless handouts doesn't just frustrate the person writing the checks, it actively disables the person asking for them, preventing them from developing the skills to generate their own income. A healthy family economy runs on trade, not charity. If you need help or investment, the best approach is the rule of reciprocity. You offer value to your family member first, before you ask them for a loan. The traditional model of one single, successful relative trying to carry the financial weight of the entire extended family always fails. Human beings are not infinite resources, and that superhero relative will eventually burn out. The alternative is group economics. When a family operates as a cohesive unit, pooling resources and working together, it becomes incredibly difficult for outside forces to exploit them. Once you replace entitlement with trust and mutual benefit, the family stops being a source of financial stress. It becomes fertile ground, ready to grow its own independent, self-sustaining economy. To build that economy, you need what's known as the 3 C's model. Think of your family as a miniature nation that needs to balance 3 distinct markets to survive. The first is the market for capital. Instead of going to an outside bank for a loan, you raise your children to actors and investors. They pool their spare money together to fund the family's own ventures. The second is the market for contractors or labor. Rather than teaching the next generation to pray that a corporation gives them an opportunity, you groom them to run operations and hire from within the family. The third is the market for customers. You have the funding and workers, but you must buy from each other. When you spend money within your own community, the wealth generated stays inside the family ecosystem. It works exactly like a habitat on Mars. If astronauts don't relentlessly recycle their water and air, they won't survive. A family economy requires that exact same closed-loop circulation of capital. By controlling the capital, controlling the labor, and controlling the spending, you build an economic system that is entirely self-reliant. No outside institution can arbitrarily shut off your financial pipeline. When you structure your finances this way, you realize that wealth building is a team sport, and the most important players on your team are the generations of your family who haven't even been born yet. Your job is to make sure your children don't have to start from zero. Leaving a worthy inheritance means providing a financial foundation so they have a clear head start. The ultimate measure of that inheritance is freedom. If your child is trapped in a job they despise, do the assets you left behind give them the financial security to safely walk away? To get there, the training has to start early. Teach every child to start a small business before they turn 12, and make consistent investments in their stock portfolio just as routine as paying a utility bill. We spend way too much time talking about high salaries, but true power comes from owning the means of production. Controlling the land, holding the stock, and owning the business is what actually dictates who has influence in a capitalist society. No one is going to swoop in and grant you economic liberation. You have to create it yourself, by refusing to work solely for the benefit of others and deciding instead to build a permanent empire for your own family.